The internet has opened new communication channels that are vital for spreading news, and social media has transformed not just the message, but the entire landscape of politics. Campaign messages can now spread rapidly, but the impact of social media goes beyond just speed. To explore the role of social media before and after elections, I'm joined in studio by Dr. SHIHOMEKA, a scholar in social media and political communication at the University of Namibia. Dr. SHIHOMEKA, very good morning and warm welcome to Namibia Connect. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers.
Thank you so much. Let's perhaps start off with looking at how politicians have been leveraging social media in their campaigns, and have they, in actual fact?
That's a very nice question. Yes, maybe before I go to the politicians, I just need to tell you, the role that social media plays in elections, especially before the actual elections, during elections, and after elections. Social media, it created, a platform where all of us can meet. Both the politicians, the political parties, and also the citizens that are going to vote. Yeah. And that's where politicians will sell their ideas. It is like an open market. Yeah. So they sell their ideas there, and the ideas are open to criticism. And the people are now digesting, the content of, that meal that they are sharing, on social media. And that's how people will end up now knowing who to vote for. Why am I voting for this one? Because they actively engage, with that specific individual or with that specific political parties. So what I have seen now, the trend, especially when it comes to political, parties, and we can't talk about political parties, alone. We need to talk about political parties, including, the politicians, and also us, the followers and supporters that are there. What I have seen lately, they are actively making use of social media. In fact, what they are using what we call now hybrid, type of, social media or digital media campaign. When they are running their offline activities, the rallies, star rallies, or maybe the other activities like town hall meetings, they are also, live streaming it. Yes. And most of the political parties and politicians also, they have created various social media, groups. One on social media, they have, a specific page for their specific political party. And individual politicians are also running, various, political activities, campaign messages, posters, audios, again on their, especially if you are looking at, Meta or Facebook, they have that. If you go to WhatsApp, a number of political parties have several WhatsApp groups. Some groups, are based on, the township where they are, or the village where they are, or the branch, or the section. Yeah. Or, they have a national, WhatsApp group. On that specific group, there are different individuals from different, walks of life. It's not only the members of that political party. And that's where they are now, dumping, all these, their manifestos, any other political messages that they have. But look at this. When they are there, individuals or citizens, they have to ask questions. Because it is one thing just to share everything online. It's another thing for you not to actually engage this participant, because they really want to know, why are you saying that you are going to come up with a mine? Yeah. So where will you get the money? If you are not responding to those questions, then you did not do justice. You really need to make sure that you are actively engaged on this thing. So social media, it gave them that platform where they can now actually meet, have an active engagement, with the citizens, and that will lead to participation. And remember, participation alone will not lead to these voters to go and cast their votes. Yeah. So if you are not convinced, I might be following you on social media, I might be listening to you on social media, I might even ask you a lot of questions on social media, but I don't even have a voting card. Or I might even follow you there nicely. Then you have a bad impression. Then I will decide not to vote for you because you did not convince me. But the platform was created, that virtual public sphere was created by social media, and politicians are making use of it. That's my observation, especially the majority or the well-established political parties, they are doing that. The minority parties, they are more on, yes, TikTok, YouTube videos, they have them, but they are not more active like, those well-established political parties.
Yesterday we had a discussion with two UNAM students on striking a balance between patriotism and partisanship. And one of the questions that I posed was the type of language that's being used on social media. Usually it's people throwing slurs and, degrading other parties. But what do you make of the language on social media by political parties in addressing or getting their points across? Because in some instances, especially the political party, the ruling party, of course, being the ruling party, it will face a lot of criticism. And that's what we see. Well, the party isn't done that, the party isn't done that. But we're not seeing, well, if you are indeed the alternative, then what do you have to offer to us? That language is not being seen as to, we're going to do this, but how are we going to do it? What has your observation been in terms of the type of language that political parties are using to persuade the electorate?
Yes. Look, this language or communication is an issue. An issue in the sense that, politicians, they might come and they use, an informal language. Remember that social media is an informal market, kind of. So when you join that social media platform, sometimes you just have to be informal at the beginning. And informal, I'm not saying you need to insult people. You need to scream and shout at people. But what you need to do there, you need to come in, informally. Look at the way, Trump used to express his opinions about anything freely. And people will be saying, but you are a political leader. Why do you have to say that? But he is just expressing. And with that expression, self-expression, it will attract so many people to follow him. Then later on, he will zoom into the actual, activities, the actual, business
issues,
that, brought him on social media. And that is now to convince, the citizens that, yes, this is me, and this is the reason why you have to vote for me. And, with that, he gained so many, buy-ins. And a lot of people have been following him, and that's why you can see that he's leading. So the language also that we are using, you just do not need to be informal in the manner that you are harassing people, you are insulting people. It should be some kind of, moderate, and it should be socially acceptable. And the social acceptable way of doing things on social media, it differs from, villages to villages and from culture to culture and traditions. So what I've seen, the politicians are doing, especially the youthful politicians, I think their political communication, skills is not really properly polished. And I think this is now the responsibility of various political parties and political leaders, especially the veterans in the field, to, work and also to educate, their young politicians on how better they can, behave and conduct themselves, online. Because sometimes, you just say a single word, and that word will damage the reputation, 1, of yourself, 2, for your party, and 3, for your country at the end of the day.
We see in some countries internet being cut off, or there's a blackout in terms of when it comes to election season. Obviously, that infringes on the rights of access to information, access to expressing your views and opinions. But what do you think needs to happen in as far as our legal framework is concerned to discourage some of the activity that we're seeing that are leading to a more destructive way? Yes, you are campaigning, but at the same time you're also bringing about divisive agendas in a country that that has enjoyed peace and stability for such a long time.
Yes, remember that our Communication Act was also revised. They revised it, and also we have some other bills or Act of Parliament that came out. And the main aim of these, acts is to control, and also, it is like, controlling or looking at how we are making use of these social media, platforms. So now, I'm not for or supporting the idea of, internet shutdown. I'm not, supporting that. But I'm also not supporting you going on social media and, harass people, or you carry on messages that can destroy somebody's, personality. I will not support that. But what I am saying is that, we should enforce the law where it is possible. So when you are doing something wrong, in the public, be it offline or online, the law must take its force. So you should be, prosecuted if it is possible for you to be prosecuted. If you need to be taken to jail, go to jail. If you need to pay, just pay. If SHIHOMEKA is there and is misusing the platform, we should really follow what the law is saying. What I'm saying is, for you to be on social media and to behave the way we're supposed to behave, first you need to do a self-reflection. Are you that mature enough? Are you aware of your political environment? Are you familiar with what is happening within your political atmosphere? Then once you are comfortable and knowledgeable about these political issues within your environment, you will not find it so insulting when a citizen is asking you a question. Sometimes those things are happening because people are trying to defend themselves. They lack certain skills, they lack certain competences, they lack certain information about certain issue. And when we are questioning them on social media, they'll get angry, then they'll start, insulting us. So if you are insulting me and the law is saying don't insult somebody, then definitely you should, take responsibility and accountability, then you'll be arrested. So to me, that's what I have to say. Let us follow what our rules or laws and regulations and the guidelines that we have has to say, and we follow them strictly. But we need to educate our people.
Do you think that social media, you made an example of Trump here, and we've seen how pivotal social media has been in the presidential campaigns across America, both for the Republicans and the Democrats. Do you think that social media has the power to sway votes, to influence the outcome in as far as the local context is concerned in Namibia? If indeed political parties are utilizing this tool effectively and the newcomers are also using it effectively, do you think that it has the power to change public opinion and say, well, SHIHOMEKA might be just the guy to lead this country based on what I see on social media? What are your thoughts around that?
Definitely it has got that power. But I want to start with the negative part of it. That, my friend, even if you are so active, on these social medias, you have seen what happened in Botswana. Former President Masisi has been active, on Twitter, very active, has got so many followers. And people have been, he engaged with these people, online users. And by that, I think even himself, he was more convinced that, he is having more followers, supporters, and therefore people will vote for him. But, come the actual day of voting, the result, does not speak as what happened to what he was, seeing online. So I want to start with that negativity. That do not only just, be blinded by, the majority of the people that are following you on social media.
Likes, retweets, necessarily.
But what you need to see and do on social media is to convince. I'm using the word digest. Break down, your political message in such a way that, each and every person online will be able to understand what is that thing that you are trying to say and how will it benefit them. Social media has got that power because now, previously, in the offline activities, you will only end up now hearing that political message if that person happened to come closer to your village or if that person is on one of the radio stations. But now, even if you are in Okamata Party and you are in Windhoek, you will be able to follow. And you can also engage people that are at that specific platform.
In real time.
So, yes. So what you need to do, make yourself clear. Convince the electorate. If people are convinced, social media has got that power even to change people's mind about their political, affiliations. So just because you can see that these people are articulating themselves nicely, it is an opposition party to me, but the way they are selling themselves, I think this is the party that I can join. So they can change their minds, even 2 days before elections. Then they will now shy away from you, then they will go to the next one. Why? Is because the other parties, they sold themselves, nicely, on social media. So that's what I'm saying is, on social media, we need, to sell ourselves. We need to make sure that our political communication messages are clear and they are straight and they are meaningful, and it's something that people can, follow. But
So-
it has got that power.
Yeah, social media platforms have also become a very fertile ground for disinformation and misinformation. Sometimes these things are used interchangeably. If you could just briefly share with us what the fundamental difference between misinformation and disinformation, and how does it affect, the electorate and the campaigns at the end of the day?
Those two things have got, equal, advantages in my, the way I'm looking at it and the way I've been reading about it and writing about it. Misinformation, comes when someone, somewhere, a political party, a human being, unintentionally share a certain message, an audio, a poster, with a harmful content. And that harmful content has got that possibility of destroying somebody's image or reputation. But due to my digital competencies, the illiteracy, the literacy level, or the understanding, because I'm always talking about political literacy, I'm not well informed about what is happening. I will not, consider that thing as a destructive message. So unintentionally, I thought, if I share it, journalists will be able, to benefit from it. But indirectly, what I'm doing, I'm destroying that person's, character or reputation. So that's now, misinformation. You are not aware that what you are carrying, it is very dangerous. But there's this information. You disinform these individuals. Purposely, look at the word, purposely crafting a message, purposely crafting that audio. Sometimes you go to that extent of tampering even with the voice.
So it's propaganda-based.
Yes. So that voice will sound like it's for one of the political leaders. And you share it. The purpose when you are doing it is to make sure that that person will get more haters. That person will not have followers. Even the followers will start now have a lot of question marks about that specific individual. But there is no truth in it. There is no truth on it. Or sometimes there is truth on it, and the truth was just this little. Then they expand it. And once they make it to look like it's a huge stone, a mountain, then citizens will say, no, we will not, follow this specific individual. So this information, purposely or intentionally, you are doing it to make sure that you cause harm or infliction or hardship on that individual. Misinformation, I'm not aware that what I'm carrying, it is something that is destroying somebody's. I'm doing it on a good cause because I really wanted you to benefit from it.
Because I don't know any better.
Yes, and I don't have any bad feelings about you. I only wanted to share it. Now, to what extent? One, misinformation, the person who is, sharing that, especially the person who is involved in that specific, audio or poster, that person will suffer, the damage. Okay? Even you also will suffer the damage, but remember you are suffering the damage, for something that you do not know. But this information is that the person who crafted that thing, they will gain. Okay? Because now they destroyed the enemy, and people run away from the enemy, their so-called enemy, and they will come to them. You see? So to them, they will gain. But the other person who is implicated in this thing will suffer because you are losing clients, you are losing members. So if we are not regulating and controlling this misinformation and the disinformation, and we are not educating people to say, before you share, before you post anything, before you respond to any query, make sure that you are well informed. Make sure that you are well informed to avoid spreading disinformation messages or misinformation messages, because they have equal power to destroy, or they have an equal power to attract more voters to your political party or to your political activities.
One of the issues that were also raised in yesterday's discussion of Situation Critical was the fact that during campaign season, people go on as if elections will go on forever.
Yeah.
They forget that after elections, whatever the outcome, we still have to work together. We still have to live in the same neighborhoods. We still have to go do shopping in the same malls. At the end of the day, we still have to live in this country. But for some reason, it's like some people go into a temporary insanity where they just throw things around. Some people even create all types of, anonymous accounts because they do not want to be seen. But then there are those who openly express their opinions. In this day and age where people actually, even if you have to go look for a job, people come look at your social media activity. How much harm are you doing, to your future if you are involved in just expressing reckless opinions on social media without thinking that there will be repercussions at the end of the day? And how do we keep in mind that, look, we are all Namibians at the end of the day. Elections are temporary. Namibia is here to stay. Elections come and go, but at the end of the day, whatever the outcome, we still have to hold hands and build this country together. How do we instill that sense of thinking in the everyday Namibia?
One thing that I just have to tell you is, people should know that politics is not here to destroy us. Politics is not here, we are not here to create enemies in politics. In fact, in politics, we are supposed to create more friends. Because like on social media and also in any other political platform, what you need to do, you need to target your opponents. Your opponent, you should focus on them so that they will come to you. Then they will become, your friends. And that's what we do in real life situations. So we do not really need, to speak as if there is no tomorrow. That's one. Remember, we have what we call digital footprint.
Yeah.
So what you are doing temporarily, because you are just doing it because you want to be seen very active. You want to be seen that, I am a member or a supporter of that party A or party B. Forgetting that, still you are unemployed. Forgetting that, you still need to grow in terms of career. So after elections, who will be in those offices? You never know. People from the other party, you see? People from the other party that you were not supporting and you were throwing stone on them while you were campaigning, they are now in charge of that. Are you saying they should also take that revenge? No, it will not work like that. Look at what happened in Botswana. President Masisi, just vacated the office, then the other one will come in. What more if he was there insulting, the other person who came into the office? Are you saying the person should take, political revenge? What I'm saying is, whatever that we do, let us think, what will happen in future. That, sustainable way of, exercising our rights online is very important. People that usually also throw, stones on others on social media are people that are less educated. When I'm saying less education, I'm not talking about qualification, academic qualification. I'm talking about the people that are not educated about, political affairs in their environment. So they don't know what they are doing sometimes. These people, they just need to be guided. So it is really like you are destroying yourself. You destroy the person that you are following. If it's a politician, if it's a political party, you are destroying it. Later on, your history will be tainted with that specific, history.
Finally, Dr. SHIHOMEKA, social media is relatively new. And politics has been there since time immemorial. But do you think social media campaigns will replace traditional campaign methods of door-to-door campaigning or hosting rallies and just going to the man on the street? Do you see social media ever coming that close and pushing away the traditional ways of campaigning as we know it over the years?
Unfortunately, it will not close that gap. Why am I saying so? We still have some people that strongly believe that they want to hear a person, live talking to them. Not just, to watch some videos or to watch on screen and whatever things. So the offline political campaign, it is still, very relevant in the current politics and in future politics. In some areas, remember, we have groups. It is not only about, young people, because mostly it's the young people that are here. What about the digitally excluded populations that are out there? They also need, to follow. And elders, they are in their communities. You need to go to them. So it will never replace that. What they need to do, they should adapt it the way, nowadays politicians are doing it. And I'm happy this year they are doing hybrid. Hybrid in that, they have offline activities, they are star rallies, in communities, they have drive-thrus, they have whatever things, but at the same time, they also have, activities running, online. So we just have to do a hybrid, way of,
So it's about striking a balance.
The balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, one group especially, remember that elders are people who are so committed to voting. young people, we change, the directions so quickly. We can be influenced so quickly, then we change. So it can't really completely do away with offline, political activities.
All right, Dr. SHIHOMEKA, thank you so much for that insight. Highly appreciate it. I think our audience at home has also learned a thing or two, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and let's enjoy ourselves, and let us all go and cast our votes on the 27th of November.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Sadrick SHIHOMEKA, scholar in social media and political communication, talking to us about how social media platforms are changing the face of campaigning and as far as parties are concerned, drawing from both international examples and also giving us a local perspective. Staying with the elections, the ECN will provide registered voters who have lost or damaged their voter cards the opportunity to apply for duplicates from the 18th to the 26th of November. This service will be available nationwide at polling stations. ECN spokesperson Devet Siluka emphasized that the Commission will not register new voters. It will only assist with reprinting lost or damaged cards. It further encourages the public to take advantage of this opportunity and to participate in large numbers. Over 1.4 million eligible voters have registered to vote in the presidential and National Assembly elections.
Duplicates are only issued to current voters holders who might have lost their voters' cards, misplaced them, or somehow damaged their voters' cards. Then they are given the opportunity to get a duplicate voters' card that they will be using to cast their vote. We do not issue paper. Unfortunately, it's not like they will issue a piece of paper as a duplicate. We issue the same particular card that we issued as a voter's card. Submit a police declaration stating the circumstances under which your voter's card was damaged or whatsoever, to substantiate your application for a duplicate, and also submit your proof of identity.
Just tuning in, you're watching NAMIBIA Connect. After this short break, we'll be talking to NSA's Executive for the Demographic and Social Statistics, Dr. Paulina Ingo. Stay tuned.